The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Napick and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Napick.
Our guest is Ron Holly with RRH Development. Ron is doing so much work, so much development right here in Houston, Texas, and even beyond. It's astounding. Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you having me on the show today.
In fact, after our last show, I think I started calling you the King of Kingwood because that is where you reside, and it's where one of the developments we're going to talk about right here today.
Yes, I've done a number of gated communities and commercial development in Kingwood area, and this is my latest development, Kingwood Cove.
And Kingwood Cove, in fact, we have the plan right here for Kingwood Cove. Let's tell people, and of course, I don't know when they started calling 59, 69, but whatever. We have 59, the highway that goes up by Kingwood and even beyond. It's right off of the 59, 69 road, right?
That's correct. It's within a quarter of a mile of 59. So from Kingwood Cove to downtown is less than 22 miles.
Easy access.
Great access. You can get to 59 without going through one light.
That is awesome. So let's tell people, if they were to be interested in Kingwood Cove, it sounds to me, the little bit I know, that one of the nice things is they're going to have some extra land, and the surroundings are really going to be very nice. A lot of details, certainly trees. Let's tell us more.
You know, the property is approximately 130 acres. There's over 2,000 trees on the property. I had a surveyor go out and spend about 3 months identifying each and every tree. Each tree's tagged. Anything above 8 inches. There are some trees on this property that are over 60 inches, and has a tremendous amount of oaks, a lot of hardwoods. Probably a third of the trees are pines. But I built the development. Developing the roads where they kind of serpentine through the trees. So I'm preserving as many trees as possible. And whenever you buy a lot, you'll always already have the location of all the trees. You're able to buy half to over 1 acre lots within this development. You can select your own builder. You know, the location is key. And this is one of the last tracts of property within the Kingwood area. And I have developed other developments within Kingwood, Deer Ridge Estates, Kings Lake Estates, the lakes at Kings River, Kings Harbor, to name a few.
Just a few, and people may be wondering why I'm calling you the King of Kingwood. That is a great name. I think really appropriate, too. But it's interesting, since the last time we talked, I don't know how long ago that was, but things have changed in a major way, and in terms of real estate and in terms of places like Kingwood Cove. What exit is it off of 59?
Kingwood Drive.
All right, so Kingwood Drive, as the barometer, as people are listening right here in Houston, they know that intersection. If you're listening outside of the Houston area, outside of Texas, let's just say it's north of the city where there are a lot of trees. But since we talked last, we know that people are in droves flocking to suburbia.
Yes, they are.
And not only that, we're going to hopefully talk a little bit about Wyoming. They're also seeking places with wide open spaces with major acreage. So a lot has changed. This is going to be a super success. We know that already going in. And when do you start selling property?
Absolutely.
The lots here?
We'll be breaking ground first quarter of next year. So we'll start pre-selling in the fall.
That's going to be awesome. So if someone's interested, where would they go? Just pick any realtor, their favorite realtor?
Any realty company, or call my office, 281-812-2700, 281-812-2700.
Of course, I know a great place where they can close at Stewart Title. We love that. We have Justin Ramirez up there. You know our man Justin,
That's
right?
right, for years.
He is an incredible guy doing super work up there. But also, Ron, let's paint a little bit more of a picture. I like the way you talked about preserving the trees because people love that. But also, you even described it and started to paint that picture of driving through with the serpentine-like roads. That's also enjoyable than just a straight-on road, a left and a right. People get more of an unwinding feeling. Let's say, especially if they're in a hustle and bustle situation, they go home to Kingwood Cove. It's going to put them in a nice frame of mind, I'm guessing.
Yes, it will. As I said, as you drive through the larger trees, we just kind of like a ribbon type design, serpentine through the trees, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
What are some of the other elements at Kingwood Cove that we'll find?
It's high and dry. All of the lots are going to be above the 500-year floodplain. So these lots did not flood in Harvey or any other flood.
So that's a big deal right there.
That is major, major.
You bought this land about how long ago? Just curious.
A year ago, April.
So only a year ago. Who would have thought that, I mean, the value just of the land has gone up, I'm guessing, in a crazy way.
It has.
Can you imagine 2 years from now? I wonder when the first house will be completed in Kingwood Cove. What's your plan?
Breaking ground on the roads first quarter of next year. I'm sure by year end, we'll have several homes under construction. So I believe 2022 people will be moving into their homes.
All right, that's going to be awesome. So that's Kingwood Cove. Ron Hawley, the phone number again is?
281-812-2700.
Now let's jump to your next favorite development, and you have like a top 10 because it's moving. You have
Yes,
so much
yes.
land in the United States and maybe other. What's the next one we want to tell people about?
I'm doing a development north of Dallas with my son, and that is in Denison, Texas. We're developing 100-plus acres there, and we'll have patio lots, and we will also have some larger lots in addition.
So for those not familiar with Denison, about how many miles from Dallas will that be?
It's about an hour and a half north of Dallas. Denison, Texas is on the Oklahoma border.
Let me guess, that's on fire too.
Yes. We're working with the city, and we're getting that kicked off now. And then we have another development in Sherman, Texas, which is just south of Denison. We're developing 121-acre lots, or 121 acres, and that will be a residential development.
All right, just to keep things in perspective, in Denison and then the other place, when did you buy that land? Just out of curiosity.
Bought that property probably 6 years ago.
One of the things I'm guessing as a developer, one of the keys to your success is vision. You're also taking a chance. There's no guarantee that whatever plot of land you buy anywhere or any of us buy, it's going to be successful for what we want to do with it. But
Right.
What are the things that you think about when you think about buying any plot of land anywhere based on your experience? And you have a lot.
Location, location, location.
That's never changed, right?
That's right. That's right.
But also trends. I mean, what we're seeing, just go back to Kingwood Cove for a second, even Denison, Texas, the trends of what's going on right now, we couldn't see last year at
No,
this
we
time.
could not at all.
We could have guessed that. In fact, here in Houston, we could have guessed that, oh, yeah, we already know there's a trend that people are moving in every direction. But now they're moving in every direction faster, more, and for different reasons.
Exactly. With the pandemic, people are fleeing the major cities, and they want to be out in the country and want privacy.
All right, let's go way out of Houston for a minute, a place you're very familiar with, and that's Wyoming.
Yes.
Since we last talked, I've been learning about Wyoming through realtors and investigations on the internet. That's a fascinating place. And I saw, and you know this because I called you, I saw on the internet, and it's gone now, no way you can get it, but I saw 70 acres for $79,000, 2 parcels of land. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting about that to me, a novice, I've never bought just land, but what was interesting is that is a piece of America, as I guess all of Wyoming is, unspoiled land and mountains and other things like that have never been developed, that have been that way for millions of years.
Yes.
It's a piece of America that people can buy. And by the way, they're doing it right.
That's right.
I'm talking to the realtor up in Wyoming. He says, I can't believe it. We've had properties on the market for 116 days, and all of a sudden, gone.
Yeah.
Tell us about Wyoming, why you like it so much.
The area is Cody, Wyoming, and more closer to Meeteetse, which is just outside of Cody, Wyoming. Cody, Wyoming is about 10,000 people, and there are two airlines that United and Delta that fly into Cody. Cody's the east entrance of Yellowstone. So I have a ranch property there that I've divided into 35 and 40-acre lots. I have 132 lots that I'm going to be putting on the market soon. I've already platted the lots. And then I have another section adjacent to the Shoshone National Park, which is adjacent to Yellowstone. And I have 4 50-acre lots on that track. And that's overlooking Buffalo Bill Lake, just outside of Cody.
So let me guess, the scenery is spectacular.
It is. And on the J. Bar H Ranch, we have the Grable River, which goes through the ranch. And then part of the ranch where we'll have lots is Tapman Mountain. And this is in the Bighorn Basin. And you're from the Bighorn, from this property, you can see the mountains of Yellowstone. You can see the Bighorn Mountains, Hart Mountain, Pryor Mountain. I mean, it's just spectacular.
Well, one of the things I learned when I looked at this particular land, just by random looking on the internet, the 79 acres or the 70 acres for $79,000 a few months ago, what I realized is that in our hustle and bustle, and I don't live in the city, but Houston, it's busy everywhere. And other people listening to this show, wherever they are, we all have busy lives. But just looking at the pictures of unspoiled America, I haven't seen those pictures for a long time. That in itself has a calming effect just to see the pictures, but to know that that's available and people are living in those kinds of environments.
It's just amazing. When you're driving from Cody to the ranch property, which, as I said, I'll have over 130, 35 to 40-acre lots. It's like driving to the Serengeti in Africa. You see antelope, you see white-tailed deer, you see mule deer, you see elk. I mean, it is just hunter's paradise.
A piece of America that we can actually purchase and be stewards while we have it, right?
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. In fact, I was talking to one of the Wyoming realtors. I talked to several, but I remember he was talking about one parcel of land that was 25 acres across from a government land park or whatever we want to call it of 600 and some acres. And he said the beauty of that is that it's going to be unspoiled, never anything built there next to another thing. But the bottom line was he showed me that through the internet, and then I started looking at like 1 acre plots, and he said, man, that's not enough room. I said, so the people up there, my point is that they love having lots of room. They wouldn't think of living somewhere that's less than 25 acres. So the mindset of people in these beautiful pieces of America is also fascinating.
Yes, it is. And I'll have to tell you, there's one part of the Tapman Mountain property lots that I have where in the evenings there's no light pollution. You're on top of this mountain. You do not see a single light for probably 80 miles or 100 miles. You only see the mountains and
stars.
And the stars. Yes, it's incredible.
And reflections. It has to be astounding.
It is. And the ranch is surrounded also as a lease property with the Bureau of Land Management. We have over 35,000 acres of lease property around the ranch. The ranch is a total of just under 4,600 acres. I
bet when you visit your ranch or any of these places as you visit, or anyone else, you just feel good.
Yeah, I do. It's surreal.
Give us an idea. So we're talking with Ron Hawley, RRH Developments. Ron is familiar with land. Give us a quick word on Pennsylvania. You just purchased or are going to close on a golf course resort in what city in Pennsylvania? That's also one of my favorite states.
It's just east of Pittsburgh, about an hour and a half.
And a lot of people listening, and certainly those, I've met a lot of people in Houston that have never been to Pennsylvania. It, too, is a beautiful state. That's where I grew up.
Okay. It's a great state. The property around the golf course is great views. All of it's above the 100-year floodplain, and going to be developing some lots within that area as well.
Quick word on golf courses. Have you ever had properties or golf courses before until this purchase?
Yes.
how do they keep the greens? That in itself, I can't manage my lawn. It's not that big. How do they keep it so beautiful, Ron? It's got to be an all-consuming job.
It's an all-week or constant job. The guys get out there at 5 in the morning and start maintaining the grounds, and it's just amazing how they do it.
I'm thinking of Caddyshack all of a sudden, but all right, let's move. Let's move on. With the last couple minutes, first of all, you're very successful. You're a driven man. I mean, you could have stopped anywhere along the line and been fine in life. But what keeps you going to do this development, the next one? And I'm going to guess, other than the ones we've talked about, you got a couple more that you're planning for maybe a few years down the road. What keeps the drive going?
I just love property. I love improving property and, creating a dream.
You're changing people's lives or helping them enjoy life.
Yes.
How do you manage from a success standpoint? We have realtors that listen to this show, all kinds of people listening to the show, other than the nuts and bolts of what you have. How do you keep things straight when you're doing this many projects? You have certain milestones you have to meet. How do you keep yourself organized to keep all this stuff going on properly? Just
working with the right consultants and engineers, and I've got a great team of engineers that are working with me on these different developments in the different areas.
As they say, it takes teamwork to make the dream work, right?
That's right.
Without the right team, it could be a nightmare.
I'm working with the best.
There you go. Ron, before we close out the segment, what else do you want people to know?
Please contact me with any questions. I'll be happy to answer questions about our developments in Wyoming or here in Texas.
There you go. You even have a little land in Hawaii. I don't know if you still have that, but
I do.
You are the go-to guy for great places, and certainly right here in the Houston area, Kingwood Cove is going to be awesome. I need to take a drive up there sometime. So
absolutely.
The number again, Ron, is
281-812-2700.
And listen, we want to also mention our man Justin Ramirez, who is with Stewart Title, our business development officer up there. If it weren't for Justin, I wouldn't even had the opportunity to talk with you. He's a good man.
He is. I've known Justin for over 20 years. Great guy.
There you go. Stewart Title. Thank you so much, Ron Hawley.
Thank you.
Let's welcome to the show Stephanie Bowles and Shelly Smyers. They are with a company called Layered Interiors right here in Houston, Texas. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
Well, it's always fun because the real estate is so exciting right now. It's moving off the shelf. There's not enough inventory. But one of the things that drives that, in my opinion, is that the home has to look great, and it has to look great when we get it ready to sell. But also for those of us that are not going to sell, you're in the interior design world and staging world, it's nice to have the home look right, even more so now during this past year. We want the home to look good, and that's what you're doing and helping people with.
Yes, absolutely. We want people to feel, comfortable and be in a great environment that they like and feel great in.
And all the more important now because people have been in their homes for so much more time than normal. So let's tell people, first of all, about your company, Layered Interiors, and some of the services that you offer as people are listening right now.
So we offer, obviously, staging services for vacant home staging, occupied home staging. We also offer full-on interior design services. We are an interior design firm. We both have Bachelor in Fine Arts degrees from here in Houston at the Art Institute. So we offer commercial services, residential services, builder spec package services, and, of course, your real estate staging services for all those needs.
So I'm guessing you're all super busy. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the interior design. Here we are. We're in our homes, whether we're under this 2020 year, as it's been so crazy. But at any point, we want to enjoy our homes. And I know people, when they look at real estate shows on TV, they open up the Architectural Digest. People just love looking at homes, and we want the home to be good. But it seems for some of us that don't have your talents that it's hard to do. Tell us about some of the elements of what you look at when you walk into someone's home and they say, hey, I need some help in making my home look good so I enjoy it more. How does your eye work when you walk into that home?
Well, we first start basically with the function and find out, what the purpose of the room is. And then we take, what colors will invoke an emotional response, what layering certain items, what's going to create a eclectic look. We also like to focus on kind of what their lifestyle is, right? So get to know the client, what they do for a living. Do they like to travel? Kind of get to know them, get to know their lifestyle, and kind of really bring in that into their design. So create a collective look with their travels, maybe some of their art, some of their personal photos that they like to take when they're traveling. Bring in, their past, how they met, what area of work they worked in when they met, different things like that. And then bringing kind of that emotional response with different colors that really evokes certain emotions, stuff like that. And then we kind of layer those items in. We like to really use patterns and textures to really kind of bring a cozy, inviting, atmosphere into places. So things like that people probably don't know unless, you're schooled in it or you have a talent for it, a natural talent for it, to be able to do that with your space. So I think that's where we really come in and kind of help people create an elevated space rather than just, it's a sofa and some, curtains on the wall type thing.
Because I'm going to guess sometimes people, and I've done this in the past, but I've just frankly given up, and that is that we think, I'm going to buy a new sofa, and that's going to change everything. Or I see a chair I like. That doesn't work just to piece it like that. You have to have the big picture.
Right. And another thing, too, what's really good, people sometimes don't know the proper scale or proportion of things that they need in a room. So when you hire an interior designer, you're getting an actual, floor plan laid out to scale. We have the knowledge of proportion and scale and sizing that needs to be done in the room, what colors are going to balance. Obviously, we know all the trends that are going on these days. We have trade accounts with all kinds of pieces of furniture, way more than you could imagine that are just out there in the retail stores. So, we have a lot of resources, I think, that, the average person doesn't know. And that's why they want to hire a professional to come in and kind of really help them piece it all together.
And let's tell people about your name. It has significance. It's pronounced Layered Interiors, and it's spelled Lyrd. How did that come about?
Well, we felt layered is how we design. We start with the function or purpose of a room and what colors will evoke an emotional response. And then we add each component of the room as an actual layer. The layering is what creates the collected look that's lived in. The personality that shines through the mix of patterns, the scales, the colors, and a mix of contemporary pieces mixed with, vintage.
So that's a lot of things right there.
Right. And that's like where the layering came from. We thought, hey, this is how we design. That is kind of our go-to. That is our goal. That's the purpose of it all. And everything kind of layers in and creates this beautiful
cohesive space that, you want to enjoy.
And then the LYRD kind of came from just kind of an acronym. We wanted a really modern look for our logo. Stephanie was actually designing our logo. She's great at graphic design. So we were kind of just playing with different modern fonts and kind of how we wanted that logo to look. And that's where we kind of just pulled out the LYRD. And we have this really cool kind of gold foiled logo on our business cards that just really pop. And it's just, I think, really represents just a fun, but kind of chic, modern touch that we kind of have in all of our designs.
In fact, I'm on your website, and it does look great. The logo, lyrdinteriors.com, is the website for people listening out there, lyrdinteriors.com. Also, it sounds like you work, whether you're home staging or interior designs, doing interior design, it sounds like you both work as a team. Have you known each other together for a long time or something?
We sure have, actually. We go way back to about sixth grade school for sure.
Well, I had the feeling. That's awesome. Sixth grade, huh?
Yeah. Yes, it's been a long time of kind of fun. That's what we kind of really love. We get to work together. We get to have fun. We've been best friends, obviously since sixth grade. And we just kind of have two distinct styles and personalities that we get to mold together and create our signature looks with that, which is just a lot of fun. And I think our clients have a lot of fun as well, getting to know us, seeing that personality, seeing our bond together. And it makes them feel comfortable. It's inviting. We're not stuffy interior designers coming in, It's just a good time. Working with us is a good time, and we really get to enjoy getting to know our clients.
Overall enjoy what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to talk about the home staging here in a minute, but before we get to that, as far still on the interior design, what are your specialties or what niche have you developed? Because here in Houston, it's the fourth largest city, so whatever category of services or products that someone needs, we have a great supply of people to choose from or companies to choose from. What are the distinctions when someone's thinking about interior design or home staging? What are some of the distinctions about what you guys are offering?
Well, obviously right now during this pandemic, like the real estate is booming, as you said. So, I mean, our big niche is really real estate styling right now and staging. Like I said, we do vacant home staging, occupied homes, anywhere, from people having spec homes or they are renovating or flipping houses all the way up to your luxury residential, real estate jobs as well. So we kind of all across the board there is really our niche in the real estate aspect of it.
So as far as home staging goes, let's tell people, in case they don't know about home staging, how important it is, especially from your point of view, and some of the results that you see when you stage someone's home, whether it's vacant or not, when you stage it for sale, because it's so important right now, even though the market is swift and moving quickly, it still has to look great.
Absolutely. With everything going remote now, staging is more important than ever. Eye-catching listing photos will stop a buyer in their tracks and will create an emotional attachment before stepping foot in the home. The buyer falls for the lifestyle that has been created, and with clever staging, the buyer tends not to see and may even overlook the flaws of the home.
Yeah, and, we're seeing, like Stephanie said, so it's really important to kind of get that listing photo perfect. You want that eye-catching listing photo because everything is remote these days. So that is what gets people in the door. People might not be walking as many homes as they would have. They're seeing all the listings and kind of narrowing down what they want to go walk in person because everything is so remote and everyone is trying to kind of social distance. That's going to get them in the door. And then that clever staging, like she said, once they see it in person, it's that lifestyle. They're like, oh, I want to live here. I can see myself in this home. I can see this, what would have been an awkward space. How do you lay it out? How is my furniture going to look? Now they know. Now they know how to do it, whether they're going to buy new or they're going to bring their pieces in saying, oh, I have a sofa and 2 chairs and that I can totally see my stuff laid out that way. So I think that really is what the staging really does. And even in this pandemic, we've seen a lot of our houses, even early in the pandemic, were going under contract within 30 days. Our contracts are for 60 days, so it gives people plenty of time to even get through closing. But we've seen definitely within 30 days, closings, are under contract within 30 days.
So if someone wants to enlist your staging services, what's the process? Let's tell people that.
So we go out first to do an initial consult walk, so to speak. So people can send us photos and we can kind of give a rough estimate based off that. But we definitely need to see the space in person. We need to make sure whatever inventory that we have that we're bringing in is going to be the right scale, the right proportion, the right look. We're purchasing new pieces all the time. We go to antique shops and get collected pieces along with some of our vendors and kind of mix things up that way. So we want to make sure it's the right look that we're bringing into the house. And then once we can do that, then we can give a final firm bid on the stage. And then from there, we just get the contract written up. Payment is always due prior to install. And then we just come in and install. I mean, sometimes this happens where a realtor will contact us, on a Tuesday, and by the following week, we're able to execute the, contract and get install happening. So usually within, 5 to 7 business days, we can make that happen.
And certainly what you're doing is a lot of work. However, I could see where the fun element is, especially when we think about before and after. As far as pictures goes, people love to see before and after pictures of anything, and especially with homes. I'm sure you have some tremendous examples, plus the fact when the home sells and the market is drawn to it because of the staging and because of the great pictures, and especially when they walk in and see it, that has to be a lot of where the fun is, right?
Yes, and we, and again, it kind of goes back to us being, childhood friends and having fun with this, and you're getting 2 designers perspective in a space. We bounce a lot of things off of each other, a lot of ideas off of each other, which we think is the fun in it. You're getting a team that's coming in and brainstorming and coming up with new ideas rather than just picking out a room from somebody's warehouse where it all is matchy and or boring and it just comes in, and that's it. We're actually creating something new for each stage and what's going to appeal to the people in the area, the buyers that are going to be coming into this house, and just have a lot of fun with it, which I think is what makes us stand out, and what helps us, move forward every day.
We're talking with Stephanie Bowles and Shelly Smyers. The company is Layered Interiors. You can go to the website, lyrdinteriors.com. Ladies, before we close this segment, what else would you like people to know?
We're here ready, excited, and waiting. Oh, and we are definitely in this pandemic. We're trying to think of ways to adapt and overcome and move forward. And so we know a lot of people are going to be shopping online. They, want to sit at home and decorate and do things like that from the house. So we are actually creating a curated online shop, pulling some things from our staging and styling inventory, having new items that will be online that they can shop from and have shipped to them. So yeah, stay tuned. Check our website out, and that will be launching here within the next week.
lyrdinteriors.com. And also, other than the website, how else can people reach out to you?
They can reach out by email. That is info@lyrdinteriors.com. And then also by phone.
Yeah, they can call 281-804-1910.
There you go, 281-804-1910. Stephanie Bowles, Shelly Smyers, there to help you with interior design and home staging and probably a few other things that we didn't get to talk about. But ladies, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having us.
And let's welcome to the show Mike Alexander. He is also known right here in Houston, Texas, and far beyond as the Medicare Whisperer. Hey, Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill. Thanks a lot. Glad to be here.
People might be thinking, hey, this is a real estate show. Why do we need to talk to the Medicare Whisperer? But guess what? Here in Houston, we have a lot of tremendous real estate agents that have been in the business for many years, or they've even started real estate in their later years. So as realtors or any other independent contractor approaches 65 or so, or once we get in our 60s, we have to start being aware, no matter what we do, about Medicare, Social Security, and planning our future. So let's tell people, especially from a healthcare standpoint, if there's realtors out there or anyone else that's getting into their 60s, let's tell them what they should be looking out for as far as healthcare and Medicare as they get to 65.
In the real estate field, you're a self-employed individual, and you usually have an individual policy that you're carrying, which can be quite expensive. When you turn 65, here's what you should look at. 3 months before your 65th birthday, you should sign up for Medicare A and B. You can also sign up the month of your birthday, and you can also sign up 3 months after your birthday. So you have a 7-month window there to sign up for Medicare A and B. And quite frankly, there's not a reason not to if you're self-employed. You want Medicare because, first of all, Medicare is going to have better benefits than your traditional insurance plan. And most insurance plans on the individual side will automatically drop you when you turn 65 anyway, okay, because you're eligible for Medicare. Those dates you want to keep in 3 months before your birthday, the month of your 65th birthday, and 3 months after your 65th birthday is your open enrollment for Medicare. So every realtor should be aware of that and start planning. If you're in your 60s, you want to mark it in your calendar that 3 months before you turn 65, go on the Medicare site or call us and enroll in Medicare A and B. And then we can determine what type of supplement or advantage plan will fit your need.
So let's just put a number to that. Let's say, and keep it simple, right in the middle of the year, someone turns 65 July 1st. So right there, you said, if I'm going to turn 65 July 1st, the first 3 months, I might, and then a lot of people want to get a head start on things.
You bet. Sooner the better.
The sooner the better. They can go and apply for the Part A and the Part B at that same time?
That's correct. Unless they're covered by a spouse through a company plan, then they definitely want to go ahead and sign up for A&B.
And here's where complications come in, because everybody's situation is different. To keep it
Absolutely.
simple and to deal with all the different nuances and timing that the government has and restrictions and all that stuff, it keeps it simple if they just call you, Mike Alexander, the Medicare Whisperer, or go to your site, themedicarewhisperer.com.
That's correct.
Because it can be complicated, anything as far as taxes, anything to do with the government. So, but the good news, because a lot of real estate professionals through the years have struggled to get good health care at a great price. And
absolutely,
when we get older, there are benefits out there, and there may be people that forget that those benefits are there and certainly forget about that timing. So, again, the magic age for Medicare is 65. So that's kind of good news. And the coverage is pretty good, too. Plus, you tailor it to the individual needs.
That's correct.
Let's have a quick word about Social Security. Let's say there's a real estate. Now it's a different age we're thinking about, right?
Correct.
People get the notices from the Social Security Administration periodically that, hey, full retirement age, and correct me if I'm wrong, is 66. And then there's different realms after that, and I think the most you can get is when you're 70. So they send you the thing that says, hey, when you're 66, full retirement, and really it's 2 months after you're 66. But,
right, depending on your year of birth. Again, yes, depends on your year of birth.
So that's the key to the year of birth. So if there's a realtor out there, and let's say they're working and they're 66 years old, and they say, hey, look, the market's great, I feel great, I want to keep on going for another 10 years, they could get the Social Security payments even though they're working, and they can make as much as they want. Is that correct?
That's correct. Once you've hit full retirement age, there's no restriction on your income. You can make as much as you want. Now, if you drew it before that for retirement age, there is a haircut that you take on it. But once you've hit your full retirement age, you can still draw your Social Security and make as much money as you want. Now, one of the things that I always tell people, especially somebody in real estate or that's self-employed, if here's the thing, if you don't take your Social Security, okay, you have to calculate how long you're going to live to see if it's worth waiting. And especially somebody that's self-employed, that little Social Security check can be a nice cushion if you have a bad month or a bad quarter. That can help you get over that hump, basically, as I say. I have a friend of mine that owns a franchise in a networking group, and we had a talk about it one day, and I said, well, Moose, your income is fluctuating. It depends on how many members you have that month, what you're going to make. And your Social Security check will be a nice cushion if you have a bad month or a bad quarter. And he said, you're absolutely right. He said, there's really not any sense for me to wait.
The other reason I wanted to talk to you about this on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is that right now, and things go up and down, right now here in Houston, most real estate professionals are very busy. The market is active.
Market's great.
There's not enough inventory, all those things. And when we get real busy, sometimes we forget about the milestones like becoming age 65. There may be someone out there listening that says, hey, I didn't even think about that. I better get on it. I'll have better insurance and pay less money. So that's a good thing. In addition, there may be someone 66 or older that says, you know what, I want to get my full retirement and earn top dollar. So let's say someone's in the Social Security realm. They're 66 years old, and it's 2 months after 66 you apply to get the full benefits. Is there a restriction? And some of these real estate professionals are making millions of dollars. So if I'm making, let's say, $1 million and I want to get my check from Social Security, they don't care how much I make. I'm still getting that amount. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the full amount that you get on your Social Security check is based on what you put into it, okay, the amount of taxes you paid. So the average real estate person, he's going to be getting at least $35,000 a year from Social Security.
Or she, and quite frankly, the realtors, male and female alike, there are so many top earners in this city. It is absolutely incredible, and not just this year, but in years past. So it's been a great thing. And the other thing, going back to however large the Social Security check is or not, the fact that it's steady and it's the same amount. Does it stay the same amount your whole life once you get locked in?
Well, there are cost of living raises, so you do get increases. And if you're still working and paying more into the system every March, you will get a letter from Social Security saying that since you have, we are adjusting the amount you receive due to the fact that you have earned income in 2019 or 2020, and they'll actually bump your check up. Even if there's not a cost of living raise, you'll still get a bump because you're paying more into the system.
Once again, whether it's Social Security, Medicare, there are, especially in the Medicare, there are open enrollment periods people need to know about. There are so many things and complications. That's why a professional like you, Mike Alexander, the Medicare Whisperer, I guess I just like saying that. That's why you're there, because you're able to navigate people through this because, hey, we're busy enough doing things, and now I have to figure out another governmental program. Yeah, I appreciate the program, but it's got a lot of complications. I want to deal with someone. You've been in this profession how many years, Mike?
35 years. Yeah, a long time.
So, and it's ever changing. You're on top of the changes every year, and they may make them throughout the year.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, before we close this segment, what else would you like people to know? Your website, let's remind them again.
Sure. I've got two. One website is themedicarewhisperer.com, and we also have www.getagreatquote.com. And, of course, everybody can always call us at 281-448-3040, 281-448-3040.
And if you're driving, you can't write that down, Mike Alexander, the Medicare Whisperer, it's going to come up right there in Google, right, Mike?
Yes, sir. Google, Alexa. If you go into Alexa and ask for the Medicare Whisperer, it'll pull it right up.
Super awesome. Thank you so much, Mike, for being on the show.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com, or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risk. Once again, here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, indeed. It is insurance time once again on the city of Houston and far beyond wherever people are listening.
Yes, it is. It's great that we can have the opportunity to provide some really great real estate and real estate related information to not only our friends here in Houston, but around the country.
As far as topics, I mean, there are so many relevant topics, and that's why we do this every week as far as insurance. So many things for us to think about as individuals, as real estate professionals, and even business owners. What should we be thinking about today?
Because of the pandemic that we've been going through and, the effects of the coronavirus, we're seeing more and more folks are working remotely. And that has caused a bit of an increase, or in some cases a significant increase, in the amount of cybercrime and some of the risks that have taken place, that cyber criminals have recognized an opportunity to exploit all of us that are working from home. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what we're seeing in the marketplace and some things that our audiences can do to minimize those risks.
The cyber criminals and other bad people out there are always on guard and looking for ways opportunities to get a piece of some kind of action. So what are some of the things we can do in the world of insurance and as far as being alert to these things? What should we do?
Well, a couple of things, too, beforehand even. There was a study recently done by Deloitte, and what they're seeing is the criminals are switching tactics and exploiting the COVID-19 related fears among the population. So as a result, working from home is becoming a resource for them to garner data. We're seeing that a quarter of all employees have noticed an increase in fraudulent emails, spam, and phishing attempts in their corporate emails since the beginning of the COVID crisis. And we're seeing this survey that Deloitte did saw that 26% of survey respondents report that they are currently tempted to keep copies of valuable company data in case the worst comes to worst, meaning the company becomes insolvent or they lose their job. So, those are all kinds of risks that we need to keep in mind. So there are a couple of areas to take a look at. One, we always talk about email and password protection. Never click on an unknown attachment or link because what that'll do is potentially download some malware on your device. Use encrypted email, a transaction management platform, or a document sharing platform to share sensitive information like a DocuSign that you see quite often in the real estate transactions. Carefully guard your login and access credentials to your email and other services that you would use in the transaction, so don't make those readily available for people to see. Regularly purge your email accounts or archive important emails in secure locations. The obvious, but one that I don't think we get a bit lazy, is use long and complicated passwords that includes phrases, combinations of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols, and don't use the same password for multiple accounts. Consider using a password manager, and what that really is it's in a sense, it's an encrypted digital vault that stores your secured password and login information. Use two-factor authentications whenever available. So what that does is it provides a second layer of protection to an account system. So let's say you would have to type in a password and then receive an email to confirm, or type in a password and have to use a fingerprint, or type in a password and get a text confirmation number. So that two-factor authentication helps with security. And then, don't do business over an unsecured Wi-Fi. Make sure that you've got a secured Wi-Fi before you begin those, the transactions. And then from a kind of an IT security-based measures, make sure your antivirus software and your firewalls are active and up to date. Keep your operating systems up to date. Regularly back up critical data, applications and systems, and keep that on a separate online system. Don't download an app without verifying that it's legit. Don't click on links and text from unknown senders. Again, make sure that verify that it's legit. Prior to engaging any outside IT provider, review the applicable privacy policies and contracts that they have to make sure that they're following those kind of processes, and talk to your partners that you work with to make sure that they're following secure processes. As a company, you ought to have a written disclosures warning clients of possible transactions related to cybercrime. You need to develop and implement some document retention and destruction policy, and that simply means who's responsible for storing which documents and who's responsible for destroying certain documents, and are they following up? So that's the purpose of the document retention and destruction policy. The cyber and data security policy is the company's directions, the company's point of view, and the company's mandates on how to use email and social media. And then the breach response and breach notification policy. So what are we going to do if there is a breach? How are we going to respond? So it's good to have that in writing so there's no questions about it. It's in a bit similar to what we talked about with the business continuity plan several weeks ago, to have that in writing and ready so that when a situation presents itself, you're ready to respond and react. Make sure that your staff and your licensees have reviewed and are following all the implemented policies, again, including your partners. And then spend some time with your insurance advisor and make sure that you have proper cyber coverages to support your organization.
John, those are a lot of things. Some of them are simple, but I'm going to tell people right now, you can go back and hear the show if you want to go down that list again at stewart.com/Houston, stewart.com/Houston. That's quite a list, and it's interesting too how the email is so, in a way, so innocent. We all have that. We all have overflowing email accounts, and a lot of emails that, frankly, a lot of us have never looked at. There's quite a few I haven't seen, but we get so much. It's easy for that cyber criminal to get into the email box. But once they're there, if they're savvy, good at what they do, good at being bad, if they're good at that, that's a big opening right there.
It really is, and they're finding new and different ways to infiltrate different companies. As getting ready for the show, I was doing a little bit of research, and I came across a term that I had not heard before, and it's called island hopping. And it's a new way that cyber criminals are targeting large organizations. And what they do is it puts small businesses directly in the line of fire. So island hopping involves attackers exploiting the weaknesses of a small business. So maybe you don't have a great firewall or you don't have the protocols in place. They exploit these weaknesses of small business in order to move laterally to target larger organizations. So they move from small business to small business to small business with the idea of eventually being able to infiltrate a large company who has a relationship with one of those or multiple of those small businesses. So as you said, they are working, the cyber actors, as the FBI likes to call them, the bad actors, they're working 24/7 to find ways to steal our data and steal our money.
The computer and the internet, and a lot of these cyber criminals are outside of the United States, so they're not subject to certain laws or certain penalties. They either give up or they get away with the money, but they are all around the world, anywhere where there's an internet connection. Not to say that they're not here in the United States working these things, but yeah, they're all over the place.
Well, they really are. So, again, be smart about your protocols, store your information, verify. It's easy to set up the authentication, the two-factor authentication. So, go about and do that. Have complicated passwords, and then have processes in place.
And I'm not a technology expert, but I will tell you, my Facebook was hacked a few weeks ago, now that I remember that, and maybe analogous to the email that we get. In Facebook, we get friend requests, and I think that, and you get them from all over the world. That is their inbox, I suppose, to messing up your Facebook, because I was getting messages from people saying, "You said what?" So people are out there saying things thinking it's me, and I had enough people come back to me, so I was able to correct it. But yeah, that's technology these days, right?
It is. So it's just a matter of taking some time and thinking it through, and you're wanting to protect your cyber assets just like you would your physical assets. If we have real estate professionals out there, whether they be real estate brokers or property managers or those that manage homeowners associations, we'd be happy to talk with them about their protocols, as well as do they have cyber insurance, and is it the right type of cyber insurance for their business. So we would be happy to do that at Stewart Insurance, and they can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. Or they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com. That's stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
866-798-2827. Stewart Insurance is helping people all over the United States. Thank you so much for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Once again, you can go to stewart.com/Houston to hear any and all the shows. A tremendous archive resides there at stewart.com/Houston. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Mr. Bramlett. And until next week, we'll see you then. We would be honored to be stewards of your real estate transaction. Just tell your real estate professional that you want to close at Stewart Title, stewart.com.